and welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, affectionately known for the last 40 years. That's right, viewers, 40 years as the Money Lady. And I've been on DATV, transmitting all over the United States and globally for 23 years. I know time really does go fast, but I am concluding my entire discussion on thriving through the storm, which is the research I did 2 years ago. Here it is, Thriving Through the Storm, on what America was facing and the Trump economy. And I wrote that book, and I wrote it and dealt with subjects that people were not talking about or even addressing. It's very, very sad, because never at any time in history has the American working class, and that includes seniors who worked and are now retired and struggling, and people that are doing their regular jobs. America has never experienced anything so savage and so horrific during its 250 years as an independent country. And that includes the American Revolution against the English, who were rabid, and the Civil War, where we killed over 500,000 of our own people for another man's right to own property. That's crazy. All these things, and and the wars, World War I, with Germany taking the lead in Europe, and World War II, with Germany taking the lead and Japan following in the rear with Pearl Harbor, and then Korea, and then Vietnam, and then, as if we didn't have enough, over in Afghanistan, Desert Storm, and the oil in Iran, really Persia, if you want to be historically accurate. This is what we are dealing with. And to be totally open with all of you, you need to stop watching television and begin to get the knowledge and information that is desperately needed if you're going to survive this carnage. And I do mean this, and I'm speaking to you as a professional economist. I was trained, and I have the credentialing to support my skill set, that I know how to evaluate economic systems, economy, economic history, and where we are today. So the truth of the matter is, if you're going to do anything, you need to be looking at documentaries, StoryTV.com, which is my favorite go-to now for all kinds of information. It's given me such tremendous information and insight into why we are where we are today. I mean, I learned something so powerful the other day, that we thought we were the only holders of the atomic bomb when we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Not true. The Japanese were already on that page, and we're just waiting for the emperor to give the go-ahead. And that would have been the end of Earth. That would have been the end. We wouldn't all be out here doing anything. So again, my exhortation to all of you, which is what I said when I started this show 23 years ago, if you can believe that, on DATV, public access, out of Dayton, Ohio. And the show has grown and grown and grown and grown, and people all over watch the show, listen to the show, debate about the show, call me. I can't change your fortune, and I'm not going to take your money. You got to make some moves yourself. But again, the thing today that is different from everything else on history is internet. We now have access to everybody's stuff. Everybody. You can point and click. You can watch Russia dropping drones on Ukraine. You can watch the Israelis fighting the Palestinians and tearing up Gaza. Shame on you guys. You're going to pay for that one. I'm serious. You just got to stop it. Leave people alone. And it's the internet and the accessibility of information from many, many sources, which can be confusing. But at least you make a start that says, I'm not going to watch commercial television. And I know for many of you that's an impossibility. For those of you that are addicted to sports, I'm not even going to put it out there. All I can say is if you're that addictive, you need to have equity in those teams if it's possible. I don't think so, but that would be the only way I could justify the hours that people click into these sports channels, ESPN, and I'm not decrying any of them. I'm just simply saying to you, are you getting paid for this? Is this what your time is really worth? Zero? Are you good with that? Because that's the kind of moronic behavior. I called it what it is. Because when you sit in front of a television for hours and hours and hours, root, cheer, prepared to kill people based on who won and didn't win, that's a problem. But it's very consistent with the history of the United States of America. We have not figured this thing out, but we are now at a tipping point, as I tell people. It's when everything converges and there's no clean way out. I don't know about you, but I am so tired all the time. You know why? Your brain is tired of processing all this information. And then from internet, now you've moved into robots and artificial intelligence. I just saw a story on BBC out of England where, did you know the robots have gone, oh my God, the robots have gone rogue. They don't need you to program them. They done figured it out. And they're not with us. They're doing their own thing. And you know what? I don't really want a robot doing its own thing. Just as an anecdote, but it really did happen to me. I have the pictures, I have the receipts. I wound up at an event and the security robot, this is about 4 or 5 years ago, the security robot fell in love with me. I'm not kidding. He just said, there's something about you. I told him, if you don't get away from me, I'm from Kentucky, and you will be scrap metal. That thing had done an analysis of me, began to give me my history, the things I did, and I was shocked because 5 years ago, AI was rather new, and I was not prepared. But I did get an insight, and I took pictures, because it told me, well, there's no point in you getting tripped out because this is just the beginning. Now we find that we're being charged for data collection centers where all this data is housed in these very nondescript black and dark gray buildings all over the country, and all of the water that's needed to keep it cool and all the electricity. We're paying for this. We don't even use it, but we're being charged by the electric companies. And that's why your bill's so high. I know it. I don't use electricity. I'm not home enough. So I keep the furnace off. Yeah, off. I use fans if I'm home. I'm okay. I'm old school. There was a time we didn't have electricity. There was a time we didn't have air conditioning. There was a time. So here we are today. And that's why the subject matter I'm talking about is critical. Not because I say so, but because you know it to be true. And for a reality at the point the information is no longer relevant, has no application to your lives as you go sinking to the bottom of the ocean, then my show will sign off and I'll wish everybody a great life because my voice will no longer be relevant. The purpose of me doing this show was to keep the conversation going, to make you aware, starting with yourself, to make you identify with so many things that are occurring right now. And because of the internet, you can now find out incredible amounts of information that you did not know before. That's the power of internet. the power of internet to level the playing field. It doesn't matter whether you're rich and have resources and you're poor and you don't have a pot to squat in, as they say in Kentucky. My point in all of this is that the ball is in your court. So I'm going to be laying it heavy. I'm not backing up. I'm going to be saying what I say. And the last 2 shows, I laid the foundation, and I got 2 more shows dealing with this book and Thriving Through the Storm. I'm doing a major event tomorrow dealing with this very subject for seniors. If you're interested, you're welcome to come to Cincinnati, Ohio. It starts at 10, it's over at 12, there's no charge. But I gotta lay some things down, because if folks don't understand, they cannot make good, sound financial decisions for they and their family. I focus on family because at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters to you and should matter to you is your family. Continuing legacy. The kids are crazy. Well, no point in you talking about the kids unless you want to go and look in the mirror, because children are the product of co-creation. It took 2 people to create that child, and that child has half of one's chromosomal characteristics and half the others. So if you've got a rebellious child who just won't do right, and it's not hormone based and it's not trauma driven, then you need to look at your family's history. Period. You need to know what is going on, and you need to take responsibility for setting in place boundaries and setting in place the ability to listen with empathy, because they came out of you. I said it. Like monkey, like mama. That's the deal. So these are things that you don't have to take my word for it. Just Google it. Go to your computer, go to your phone. And thank you, AI, artificial intelligence, will tell you more than you even want to know about why your kids are so dysfunctional and so bad. And it hits me hard because so many young people are just putting a gun to their head and pow, next. I've got a funeral this week. 24-year-old, incredibly bright young man who is dead. He just said, I'm tired of living. How are you tired of living at 24? I just can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Well, I'm going to tell you, he definitely is gone. He talked to his cells, and I tell people, your cells, the universe that's inside your body that you had nothing to do with. That's a God card. You had nothing to do with the cellular dynamics inside of your body covered by your skin. But did you know that cells hear everything you say? They process everything, and they don't march to you. They don't march to you, but you tell your cells, I don't want to be here anymore, and you keep that conversation going. Let me share something with you. They will shut the door. You'll have a massive heart attack. Boom. You'll have a stroke. Don't recover. Boom. That is real. And that, how do you know? Information, like I said, information. You need to pay for the information you get. Oh, I need to know how to do the stock market. No, you don't. You don't need to do any of that because you don't run that venue. You need to deal with your stuff and what you can control and what you will control, called intentionality. I am intentional about my life. I will not be somebody else's pawn in a game that I don't even know how to play. And that's a tough place to be. You don't even know what to do. You don't even know how to react. You don't know anything. And the beginning of wisdom is when you can say to yourself at the end of the day, I don't know nothing. I'm just a little fish trying to maneuver in this ocean that, by the way, thanks to climate change, The ocean is hotter than it's ever been. So we don't have to worry about cooking fish. We're just go and get one and eating because he's already cooked. I mean, that's the bizarre nature of the days we're in. But getting on back and on task, because I don't have a long time to deal with this subject, and I may have to continue it on to the final show on this thriving. I want to talk about credit card debt, a modern trap. I want to talk about it because whether you acknowledge it or not, Americans are in deep trouble over this credit card debt. For the reality of credit cards is becoming the new safety net. Now, this is a new phenomenon. Credit cards, historically, and they haven't been on the scene all that time, but they are on the scene, and they're doing a whole lot more than needs to be done, and they're setting you up for a trap, period. And I'm going to talk about this specifically. Let me put on my reading glasses because I'm old now and I can't see stuff. But let's talk about what credit cards are being used for now, today. They're not for luxuries. Used to be a time you'd finance by credit card, trips, vacations. But today, food, rent, utilities, and gas. Credit cards, okay, when paychecks fall short. And I'm telling you, they are short because wages have not kept up with inflation. And by the way, thanks to our engagement with Persia, also known as Iran, we have not kept pace with inflation. Why? Because gas prices are up. Have you looked at the pump lately? And have you really looked at diesel? That's the oil, the gas that transports your stuff to the grocery store or to an outlet. These guys are carrying merchandise that you buy, but they've got to fill up those tanks. And I just heard this morning on NPR that diesel is up to $7.02 a gallon coming from California, because that's where a lot of the produce comes from. That's where a lot of stuff comes out of California. Whether you like it or not, those trucks, those 18-wheelers, can you imagine how much gas goes into an 18-wheeler to fill that thing up? And then it got to refill depending upon what part of the country they're going to. And hey, the math doesn't work because it's too much. So we have a situation where because of inflation and because people cannot afford, I don't know how you do it with an F-150, guys. I hear you cursing at the pump. I'm there with my little RAV4. And I'm not happy, but I'm not paying $7 a gallon for nothing. Period. I have to get a scooter and do something different, or electric bike, what they do in China. Okay. But my point is, people today are using credit cards just to survive. Period. Got it? That's what's up. They're not doing credit cards because they have frivolous thoughts. It's about feeding the babies. Go to the grocery store and see how many people plop out a credit card to pay. Now, if you are low income and qualify for SNAP, benefits have decreased, but at least you're getting something. The average American that's working out here today gets zero. The average person on a fixed income, pension included, it's rough. Because when you go into the grocery store, and if you haven't been in lately, prepare yourself. Take yourself some anti-anxiety meds. Because when you see the prices, I don't want to pay $8 for some cereal. What? I can't afford it. Okay, well, you're the money lady. I may be whatever you want to call me, but the reality is $8 cereal is a bit much. You're going to make me start making my own cereal, which is what the old folks did, oatmeal, okay? And take it from there, Quaker Oats or something. My point is that people are using credit cards as a tool for financial survival. And it is, listen to me please, it is a modern trap. It's a trap. Why did they release credit cards to begin with? Why would you want to go into debt to begin with? People used to, I'm talking about Kmart. For you young people, you don't know. Yeah, it's okay. So Google it. Google it and find out for yourself. But I remember when Zayres and Kmart and Gold Circle, all these people did pay as you go. You can put stuff in layaway. In fact, you did all your Christmas shopping in layaway, where you pay a little bit out of your check every time you got paid. You went to Kmart and you paid them money on your account. When your time was up, you got all your toys and stuff, and you had no debt, and it was over with. Now, people started doing layaways in August. So by the time Christmas rolled around, you didn't have any debt. The same thing went for other items, big ticket items. People saved, they drove a raggedy car till they could afford a car. That's how it was done. And what did it do for the economy? Everything just chugged along. What did it do for you? It kept you from falling victim to stuff. You knew your limitations, you knew your take-home pay, and you weren't about to get yourself out there. You also did not become steakaholics, where you had to have steaks. Where did we come up with this obsession with steaks and red meat, when you and I know those cows are not fed right, and you and I know, based upon research, that red meat and pork will trigger you into cancer? That's how much your body likes that cow. I don't do red meat mainly because they're females. All the cows are females. I'm not doing that. I'm a female. You're not they don't slaughter the male cows, the bulls. They don't do that. They don't say, hey, have a bull steak. Although I have seen bisons, but bisons aren't the same as bulls, okay? Why? Because they need that bull to produce with that female. Remember co-creation? I talked about it earlier about don't get upset, because when you co-created, meaning you got with a man, somebody got with somebody of the opposite sex, and the child is a combination of both. You got to have a male or else nothing's going to happen. It's no different with cows. All the cows are females. The milk, you're not going to find a male with milk. All right? If you do, don't tell anybody. My point in all of this is that we were balanced. We were not strung out. And because of the balance, we respected and appreciated the value of a hard day's work. We did. We didn't play it any other way. So what caused this? And the reason I'm going to be on this so hard is because we are not going to get on balance until we get out of debt. And I'm not talking about the $29 trillion of our country's debt. That's another whole conversation for television. And you and I know, because your parents came out of the Great Depression, and they know you can't owe everybody. Because somebody's going to say, hey, you got to pay me. I'm getting a little bit nervous about you and how you handle your affairs. And they should. Because I wouldn't lend us a dime. Not when everything is credit card validated. Somebody's got to put boots on the ground and do something. even if it means that we as a people are going to have to suffer. And by the way, we're going to suffer anyway. We are going to suffer. And if you're not suffering yet, stick around. For you middle class people that think you're riding a wave of the stock market and man, I'm making money, just know that what goes up will go down when it comes to equities and debt. I didn't say gold, because gold and commodities are a completely different arena. And I know many of you all are lured into gold. How are you going to do gold when you don't even have money to pay the premiums for your life insurance to bury you in case you expire, or just to be able to use it as a venue, as an asset that you can borrow against? How can you talk to me about gold? Don't try it. Well, I need a little bit of safety. You are in the wrong country to talk about that. Your safety is your ability, your mindset to create. That's your safety net. God gave that to you with no conditions applied. All you got to do is use it or lose it. And many have chosen to lose it. I hope you're not one of them. But let's talk about why we're in this situation. Because interest rates on credit cards, I said this 2 years ago. Nobody believed. 34.99. That's mafia. I'm serious. And guys, don't come after me. I'm not talking against your business model. You do what works for you. But I'm saying to you, the average American worker cannot pay 34.99% interest on food. Something you consume in 2 hours and it's over. Period. It went in the mouth and you know where it came out. The body extracts what it thinks it needs and it keeps it moving. And now, because the food is so bad, hello, you know that corn cob does not look right. And you know that watermelon. Now, I know about watermelons because we grew them. They don't look right. They don't have seeds. You know what a watermelon without seeds is? It is infertile. It can't reproduce, period. You going to eat something like that? Right. Things have to reproduce, including us. That's the law of nature. But at 34.99, and notice that these interest rates are historically high, but they're not going down. But let's talk about many interest rates now carry annual percentage rates. Oh yeah, they told you what they were going to do to you last year when they sent out the disclosure statements for this year. But the rates were 29.99 to 34.99 and even higher depending upon your credit score. What's a credit score? Google it. It's information. Google it. So let's put it in perspective about how does it affect you and why am I on such a tizzy about this? Okay, if you charge $1,000 on a card with a 34.99% interest rate, or say, and you say, well, how easy is that? Well, I get all these magazines. They come to my house because this is a marketing country. This country is about pushing you to buy because it keeps this system called capitalism, called profit at your expense. And you say, but it makes me feel good. No, it does not. When the bill collector comes to get the bill paid and you find out that 34.99% APR in the disclosure document that you got, if you make only the minimum payment, because trust me, that's all you're going to be able to make, you could end up paying over $2,000 over time, and it can take years to pay out. Years. At this rate, every dollar borrowed turns into $1.35 or more, quickly trapping families. Here we go again, because you know how I feel about families. Your life support is in your family. I don't care if they're dysfunctional. You're dysfunctional. We're all twisted. Okay, look at the DNA if you think I'm kidding. Is it twisted? It's not straight. Have you thought about that? So we're all twisted. But to be in a cycle of debt that you cannot ever escape, that's legal loan sharking. I'm serious. Bend you over and get it. That's where we are. Now, some people say, God, do you have to put it in those terms? Well, I don't have to. I can say to you, feel it. Feel what it feels like and see for yourself. So, wages have not kept up with inflation, so you don't have enough money at the end of the month. You're living from paycheck to paycheck. Now, tell the truth. How many of you all are living like that? Then the cost of living has exploded. Your children are moving back home with you because they can't afford the rent. And now with gas, you can't even afford to drive. They will take a bus if you have a transportation network that's timely. Child care. Oh my God. If you knew what it was going to cost you to raise those children you birthed, I don't know if you'd do it. So you say, well, my parents can take care of them. Excuse me. Have you ever tried to take care of a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old? Or don't even ask about a teenager. You want your parents and grandparents to experience in their twilight years, years where peace is everything. You want them to deal with your crazy child? Oh, because it's their grandchild. Don't nobody ask to have that going when you made that choice. Medical costs have surged. Oh yeah. And don't be diabetic. The statistics say 9 out of 10 Americans are diabetic, and the pharmaceutical industry is making a killing. Well, yeah, it is, in the billions, because you got to take medications. You cannot go the natural way. They need to answer, why don't they have diabetes in Africa? What is that about? I am telling you, medical costs over here make it profitable to keep you sick. Yet, with all the increase and all that, we haven't had an increase in our wages or our income. The notion of emergency savings. I used to teach this stuff, okay, as a financial advisor. I don't even say anything anymore. I don't, because I know that according to the bank rate survey, listen to this, over 56% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense without borrowing. For working class Americans, one flat tire or medical bill can tip the scales. Now let me give you an example, because I know you're like, gosh, why did I turn this show on? You turned it on because you needed the information. And if you were able to get it elsewhere, you should. But it's my show, and this is what I'm talking about today. The modern trap, credit card debt. So, you can't pay your hospital bill. Let me give you a case in point that just happened to one of my clients. He was out drinking and having a great time, and he OD'd on the wine. Yes, he did. And he passed out. And they had to rush him to the emergency. Now, mind you, this gentleman is extremely intelligent, but he does not believe in the concept of medical care. And I told him, nobody believes in the concept of medical care until they need medical care. It's the same thing with insurance. Nobody believes in health insurance until they have a stroke. Or nobody believes until something happens. That's why insurance is called risk management. You take it out, you pay the monthly premiums, which are highly affordable versus the hospital. Well, for that one night stay, for them to get him back to normal, his total bill was almost $20,000. And mind you, he told me, I don't believe in Medicare. I told him, it's a health care plan for seniors, people 65 and over. Why? Because nothing's ever going to happen to me. Okay, it happened. So you know what he said? Well, I guess I'll have to pay it. Man, really? Come on. I don't even know what to say, other than he went on after the fact and enrolled in Medicare Advantage. Okay? And I explained to him how to get some help on the portion that he did have. My point is, I said to him, I don't even know why I'm talking to you, because you don't believe fat meat is greasy. I'm not laughing, because $20,000 is impossible. The ambulance was $1,300. Yeah, don't jump into an ambulance unless you're on Medicaid, which is health care for the poor, and the government will eat it. But if you're not on Medicaid, I don't know, walk to the hospital. I'm serious. Walk. Just walk. They probably won't take you anyway, but walk. Don't live in a rural community because the hospitals are closed. So this is where we are, the three things I just told you about. So is there a way out? Here's the heartbreaking truth. The math does not add up for the working poor. That's poor people that work for a living. Most of America is working poor. Don't believe the hype about middle class. That day is gone. They work just like you do. They're not sitting around depending upon dividends and investment income and, oh, I'm going to do this. No. They're trying to figure out how to make their bills too. Low wages mean, and remember this, because it's about how you feel right now, and what you're feeling is not psychotic. It's just looking at things as they really are. Low wages mean that you can never get ahead. High rents eat up over 50% of the income in many cities. Again, this is why your children are coming home with their families, because they can't make it, particularly if they're trying to pay student loans, working with this little teeny weeny fast food job, or even telemarketing. They don't make enough money. So I'm telling seniors, they may not have shown up, but they're coming because they can't make enough money to cover their basic bills. And you did not have to experience that. Those of you that came out of the Great Depression and World War II, the government had money galore. Why? Because we won the war. Winner takes all. And we set up capital venues where the United States of America would be the primary funding vehicle for expansion globally. We said, no more wars, we'll set up bases all over the world. And you said to yourself, not thinking, oh, how we love. No, that's not why we set up bases. We set up bases because bases require people, and people require food, shelter, and they have to be paid. We extracted from everybody else to set up those bases. So they didn't have to deal that. When it came home, they were able to get GI bills, no down payment, low interest. I mean, come on. Winner takes all. Same thing with football and basketball too. Interest rates punish people for being poor. Okay? Poor people get the highest interest rates because they're considered the greatest risk for lending money to. The track record of people with no money is that they didn't get to a place of no money accidentally. They're poor. They're not making enough money. And finally, and this is how it feels, living costs keep climbing. Go to the grocery store. Go to Dollar Tree. Go to and see who's in the parking lot today. Okay? For the record, I go to Dollar Tree. Been going to Dollar Tree for years. Period. Buy my water there. Period. Okay? You see, but it's not that big of a deal. That's you talking. That's not me talking. As long as I got to drink water, I'm going to try to find high quality water affordably. Okay? I am. So, living costs are climbing and people are scuffling. And again, what's the sad story? It's that people are working 2 and 3 jobs. They're drowning in debt. They cannot pay their child care expenses, utilities. Oh my gosh, utilities. Duke Energy. Whack, whack. What are you doing? You can't continue to extract from people that don't have any money. Well, don't turn on the lights. Well, you know what? Maybe we should nationalize the utilities like they do in Europe and China. You don't have to worry about it. Okay? It's considered a necessity. You cannot make profit off of things that are necessity. I wish they'd have that same attitude about food. You're constantly behind. Constantly. And while the rich enjoy record profits, everyday Americans, this is data, people, it's what I do, are paying 34.99% interest just to stay afloat. So what can be done? I got 10 minutes left, and I'm going to make it as quick as I can. And we'll continue this conversation on my next show. So you want to tune in. What can be done? Well, this is not just a personal financial issue. It's a systemic economic condition that is now facing us big time. And it's time that we called it out. Why am I the only person saying, I can't believe this? Believe it. Pinch yourself. Ouch, ouch. Yeah. Experienced bill collectors who don't care about the law and call you whenever they want. Look at it for what it is. Face the numbers. Number 1, face the numbers. Don't ignore the debt. Make a list of all credit cards, balances, and interest rates. Stop the bleeding. Number 2, avoid using credit cards if possible. Seek out, listen, you have no business using a credit card at McDonald's or other fast food places because you're too lazy or undisciplined to feed your kids. That is incredible. And have you looked at what a hamburger looks like lately? I mean, just a regular kid's. Have you? And you want to put that on a credit card? Seek out community resources, food pantries, or nonprofit assistance before turning to debt. The third thing, negotiate your rates. Call your credit card issuer and ask for a lower APR. It works more often than you think. I can call them. Of course you can call them. They'll call you. Consolidate strategically. If you qualify, look into credit unions, personal loans, or nonprofit, and note I said nonprofit debt relief programs. Am I a believer in debt relievers? As a fact, I'm not. As a banker, I've seen horrible stories. I have. They're cut off the top, and then you wiggle around. And number 5, start small. Rome was not built in a day. Your situation just didn't happen. Start with the smallest debt or highest interest card. Pay it off and roll that payment into the next one. And my final thought, in the remaining time I have, and I said this before, but I'm going to say it again and again. It's not your fault Say it again. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. If you're in debt right now, you're not alone. The Federal Reserve tracks this. The Federal Reserve out of Boston. Google it. They know you're in debt. They know you can't make payments. They track that stuff. Okay? It's not a personal failure. The system is this, and listen carefully. Low wages, high costs, easy credit, and impossible interest rates. Have we had this before? This country lives like this. What do you think slavery was about? No wages. Oh my God. Not low wages, zero wages. They bought you and they worked you till you died and paid you not a dime. High cost? Hey, the poor little slaves could not buy anything. Then they wound up being sharecroppers and could not pay for anything. Easy credit? Well, of course you're going to get easy credit because they got you. They got you, period. They have the apparatus to keep you until you say, time out, enough, I'm done with this. Impossible interest rates. When I first put out 34.99, people point blank said, you lying. I said, I'm not a liar, particularly when it comes to money, because it's all in your face where you can see it. Now the interest rate, public information, everybody knows, oh, this is so horrible. Well, why do you put up with it? Who is the dog and who is the tail? Who's running this thing? And why am I involved is your question. And what do I need to do to get out of this? And until you get fixed about getting out of it, you're going to stay in it. You, point blank, cannot be a part of the marketing machine. I'm not kidding you, like I said earlier. And I'm not naming names, I'm just telling you. I'm on your mailing list. I get a ton of this stuff, wanting me to spend hundreds of dollars. Back to school? Well, back to style starts here. Your child can't just go to school. Oh my God, they got to go back in style. It's not enough that our literacy rates are plummeting, but you got to be in style. You got to have the latest gym shoe because that's what everybody else is doing. Well, may I submit to you that if you're going to dress them like that, you better put those buzzards to work. Oh yeah, they better work. Cut grass, water flowers, do this, do that down the street, iron clothes. Listen, when I was growing up, I had to do that. In fact, one of the things I did as a young woman, and those that went to the school I went through will tell you that girl was always dressed. I went to a thrift store at 12 years old called Heart Mart, which was rich women giving the clothes they gotten tired of to the thrift store back then. I bought the little clothes for 99 cents, 59 cents, repurposed them, designer stuff, Halston and all, repurposed them, folks, and I wore them. I worked 2 jobs for money, and I saved like crazy because my daddy taught us nobody respects a poor person. And I found that to be true. So I was like, I'm not doing that. Our allowances, the rules were 10% to tithes because we were Christians, still am, 10% for yourself, and the balance for your bills. And I kept the 10% for myself, went into savings. So when I graduated from high school, did I have a nest egg? Oh, yes, I did. Because pennies become nickels, nickels become dimes, and dimes become dollars. And that's what you need to be thinking. And if that's never been told to you, it's told to you now. Pennies become nickels, nickels become dimes, dimes become quarters, quarters become dollars, and bam. There you go. the American way. If you're going to play ball, and no debt. That was the shock for me, viewers. When I went to China, they don't do credit cards. You have to save. And not a problem because at the present time they run it. But those people, they did electric bikes. They walked. They did not. The kids worked at restaurants, played violin, did everything. They did not spend money. They were doing things. And fortunately for that manner of government, which is a communist country, the government runs everything, but their system of resource allocation is capitalism. Pooh! They take the profits and use them for their people, not individuals. We take profits, not us. The worker bee does not work like that. But the profits they make, they keep for themselves and their generations. And is it criminal? Yes, it is. Because you see in the money game who's winning the war. China's GDP, gross domestic product, has skyrocketed ahead of us. And we busy doing bases and everybody trying to get their own piece. Well, viewers, listeners, and everybody else in the motley crew, listen to me. Listen to this black woman tell you the way it is. Okay? I wouldn't care. You shouldn't care if it was a dog barking and if the bark was the truth. Listen, you are never going to succeed in this system based upon you thinking you got it going on. I got the money, I'm rich. No, you're not. You're not rich when your mindset is greed, when you don't see your family as intricately tied into your success, when you don't see your nation as going downhill because everybody is out for themselves. You don't have starving people in nations that understand that profit is not going to make it. This is the plain truth. If you think you're rich or going to be rich in America, keep thinking, okay? Keep thinking. A medical catastrophe could blow you up. A car accident where the person has no insurance and you have minimal coverage will destroy your future and you will have no car. Okay? I'm talking about right now, not real. Talking about people going through it. Retaining attorneys to sue their insurance company who will not pay them because of the lack of insurance on the person that ran into them. Please, if you can pay the insurance premiums, because nobody is talking that. I know because I called. I told my insurance company, can't you do any better than this? Your premiums are outrageous. I don't even drive my car. I fly. They said, we're not authorized to rate reduction. Well, make it up. Everything else is made up. Make it up. No, we can't do that. Pay your premium or we're canceling you. Well, you can't cancel me. I need my insurance. Then I thought about it, and I'm like, wait a minute. If you don't have insurance and you wreck somebody else's car, and they do have insurance, even though you're at fault, they're coming after that person's insurance. And what are they going to do with you? Oh, they're going to garnish. What are they going to garnish if you don't have anything? Guys, you better think about that as we move into this place where we are today, where hard times are upon us, the famine is here, and you don't have enough money at the end of the month to do much of anything. So on my next segment, because we're wrapping up now, I'm going to talk about, as my concluding comment, what you need to do right now to change your situation. A thought process is required. Game over. Stop it. Stop playing. And we'll continue in my final segment of thriving Through the Storm, which is a book that I wrote 2 years ago. I didn't publish it. I just kept it to see if everything I had prophesied was going to come to pass. And would you believe it has? So, wrapping up today's segment, I'm Michelle Graves, wishing you a prosperous day despite everything else. And to know that God is not your enemy. He is your friend. And He will get you through if you say so and order your steps accordingly. I'm Michelle Graves, the Money Lady, and it's a delight to be here today with you and for you. You take care and tune in for the next show. Take care. Bye-bye.